Hey gamers, Aksu here. Are you wondering how the Landsraad works?
Excellent. Every little bit of help matters, but the Landsraad is a large organization.
In this video, I'll guide you through the mechanics of the Landsraad, so you can win favor with the council members, earn rewards, and secure the votes to select the Imperial Decree that will be applied server-wide the following week. Let's get started. What exactly is the Landsraad? Within Dune lore, the Landsraad is a council of representatives of the Great Houses. These are the interplanetary landed elites. In Dune Awakening, earning the favor of these council members is a faction versus faction endgame competition that runs on a weekly cycle. Because these house representatives consider themselves elites, you must first gain standing before they will even recognize you. To gain that standing, you must do two things. First is align yourself with a faction, and second is be a member of a guild that has also pledged to the same faction. Players are eligible to make these pledges at rank 2. It's here where they become a recognized faction recruit, rather than an unpledged mercenary. To align yourself with a faction, seek out these representatives, either Maxim Casimir or Anton Tolliver. Both can be found in the Anvil Trade Post, located in the Eastern Vermilius Gap. Either one of these individuals will assign your first missions to prove your worth and allegiance to your chosen faction. To pledge your entire guild to either Atreides or Harkonnen, the guild leader must pledge the guild as indicated on the Landsraad board. If you're a solo player, you're not locked out. You can simply create a guild using 1,000 Solari. Once you have a guild, and the guild has pledged to a faction, the houses of the Landsraad will now interact with you.
If you assist me with certain matters, I could recommend the house vote in your favor.
You may track both faction and personal progress on the Landsraad board. The Landsraad board is a 5x5 grid containing the 25 great houses. Each week the houses are rearranged on the grid, and each house will have a randomized task. The only task that's unchanged is the center square. Because this is a place of central power, even if the house changes, the task will always be for Spice Melange. Over the course of the week, each house will reveal a task they seek to have completed in order to gain their favor. The faction that completes the task first will claim the support of that house for the week. To win the week for the Landsraad, if either faction claims 5 in a row, like a bingo, horizontal, vertical, or diagonal, that faction wins immediately. Otherwise, the result is based on majority. In the case of a tie with claimed houses, I believe the winning faction is simply decided by the total faction contribution accrued, or a majority voting power. To try to counter one faction dominating the Landsraad every week, the system does have a built-in catch-up mechanic. For the faction that loses the Landsraad, the next week all of their contributions will earn bonus points, giving that faction a chance to claim the tiles even faster. Each day, 5 of the houses will reveal the task they require to win their favor, and you can find a countdown timer for when that next reveal will happen. Some of these house representatives can be bribed to reveal their task early. That task will only be revealed to individuals paying the bribe, allowing them a head start to claim that tile. The bribe can be very expensive, so this mechanic might only be useful if the Landsraad on your server is very competitive and a specific tile is critical to either obtaining or blocking a win. When I was first getting into the Landsraad, I was confused by the wording when you hover over the tile, indicating that you can talk to the house rep to learn their task. I think this is pretty misleading and confusing. This language is in reference to the bribes that some, but not all houses will accept. Now let's look at a task. Here we see the house has requested materials. Each item is worth a specified amount of points. There are a few different types of house tasks. Some of them are item turn-ins. These can be components or finished items, up to and including complete vehicles. And the other major type are kill quests for NPC factions on the different maps. If you're like me and you've played quite a bit and you've been hoarding components and looted items, the Landsraad is a really good way to convert some of those stockpiles into rewards. If you have time, those kill quests can have useful synergies to also farm components for future turn-ins to the Quartermaster. For example, Sandfly kills will take you to areas where you can loot light and heavy caliber compressors, as well as industrial pumps. Killing Masquerite will take you to areas where you can loot sandtrout leather, stillsuit tubing, diamondine dust, carbide scraps, and insulated fabric. It's that time, guys. Please help support the channel by subscribing. You can also leave a like or comment, which really does help with the algorithm. And if you happen to be interested in live gameplay, I do stream weekly on Twitch, and I really do appreciate your support. Thank you so much, guys. When completing tasks, all item requests are turned in to your faction's Quartermaster. For House Atreides, the Quartermaster can be found on the Eastern Shield Wall. For House Harkonnen, the Quartermaster is located in Haga Rift.
Do you have something for the Baron?
Here are a few tips related to item turn-ins. Some house tasks require turning over complete vehicles to the quartermaster. Be aware of the house.
Which house?
Pocket your ornithopter if storage is empty, and read the confirmation text closely to avoid donating your vehicle on accident. For tasks requiring equipment or vehicles, the item only needs to be operational. It does not need to be in new condition. I actually saved many of the looted items that are damaged, specifically for future Landsraad turn-ins to the quartermaster. This also goes for sandbikes and buggies. You can turn in damaged vehicles that you find throughout the world, as long as they're still functioning. If your server is very competitive, or you're really optimizing your engagement, you can have materials, components, and water ready and waiting so that you can quickly craft needed items. You can prepare appropriate quantities of turn-in materials ahead of time, even going so far as building a warehouse close to the quartermaster for faster turn-ins. For any particular week of the Landsraad, if a task is very expensive or you don't have the materials, you can simply wait, as the same house may require a much simpler task in future weeks. This bar and point count tracks faction progress towards claiming the house. Favor of the house is claimed by the faction that achieves this amount of contribution points first. Claiming that house will unlock the votes of that house during the weekly Landsraad Council. The reward details are related to personal contribution only. To earn these rewards, each individual must complete the task objective and earn personal contribution points. The rewards are solely based on the value of your personal contribution. Earning the highest tier of personal contribution points for a task will reward you with a garment swatch using that house's colors. Currently, there's only one swatch per house, and that swatch is limited to a garment category: heavy armor, light armor, or still suit. Individuals may still complete tasks and earn the rewards even if the house is already claimed, and even if it's claimed by the other faction. So there's faction contribution and there's personal contribution. Before a tile is claimed, your contributions earn both voting power and personal contribution points that count towards house rewards. The scale of your efforts to claim the tile are reflected in the amount of voting power you receive. Once that house is claimed, your contributions will only yield personal points towards the house rewards. There is an alternative for PvP. Favor with the house can be gained through holding PvP-enabled control points located throughout the deep desert. This symbol on the Landsraad grid indicates the control point is held. However, holding control points does not award any personal contribution. These control points are only used for gaining faction points. In order to cast the votes that you've earned from the houses that you've helped to claim, your faction must first win the Landsraad competition. Only the winning faction gets to cast their votes to determine the decree that will impact the following week of gameplay. If your faction wins the Landsraad, and your guild has accumulated voting power, at the end of the week, the guild leader will be prompted to cast the guild's votes for one of the 3 available decree options. Many of these decrees can have a significant impact to combat, crafting, experience gains, special vendor access.
I am permitted to trade with those favored by the Landsraad.
A word of warning, there's one decree in particular, the right of salvage. This decree enables full loot PvP in the deep desert for the entire week. If you die in PvP, you'll drop all items on your character, backpack, and equipped, and those will be free to loot by any other player. For this reason, all players should make it a habit to check what decree is active for the week on their server. You don't want to fall victim to losing all of your gear to a PvP death and not realizing you had all your gear on the line. While the quartermaster is used to collect items from you, to claim your rewards, you need to seek out the Landsraad house representatives that are located throughout the playable maps.
Of course. You've more than earned it.
That's right, you need to go to each representative individually to claim rewards that you've earned.
House Election always pays its debts.
When you're claiming rewards, be sure you have sufficient space in your backpack for all of the rewards. I've seen other people mention that any items you can't hold in inventory will be permanently lost. I personally have always been careful to make sure I have space, and I've never personally completed a test for science to verify the risk of potential item loss. Alright, I think you're now ready to engage in this game of politics and power. Be sure to check out my other Dune Awakening guides, and thank you for your support. Until next time.